Welcome to Alberto's Universe. Ascension Chronicles Part 9. Meditation. Quieting the Chattering Monkey. Over the previous 8 parts of these Ascension Chronicles, I periodically highlighted the importance of meditation. More than ever, meditation is essential in order to regain our natural balance. We live in a perpetual state of dis-ease. We are not at ease. We walk around with one eye on our handheld computers while barely seeing where we are going. To any outside observer, we would look to be very preoccupied. Occupied before, as if something bad is about to happen soon. When we introduce ourselves, the first thing we establish is our level of commercial productivity. Hi, I am Alberto. I am a teacher. Oh, you're a middle productivity individual, thinks the other person. To that, they reply, hi, nice to meet you. I am Maria. I am a doctor. This confirms that this person produces much more than we do. We are defined by our monetary worth. No wonder we live in constant need for medication. The word medication comes from the same Greek root as meditation. Perhaps it is time that we heal our life the natural way. Yet many do not know how to meditate or do not feel comfortable doing it. Today, I would like to demystify meditation. I would like to offer various forms of meditation with the desire that one of them resonates with you. To get started, let us talk about what meditation is and what it is not. Meditation is not religious, nor is it a religious ritual. Any person, whether holding a religious belief or not, will find meditation to be beneficial. Meditation is also not ritualistic. On the contrary, meditation is intended to be a moment within ourselves, and as such, it is meant to happen when we wish to spend time within. Just as we find need to visit or call a dear friend, without the limiting boundaries of a schedule or structure. We don't make appointments to call our dear friends. We meditate, we come together with ourselves when we do feel like doing so. Certainly, there are days when I do not feel like meditating. On the other hand, there are times and places that inspire me to meditate. All happens organically, as meditation is natural to all of us. Here, it is important to remark that becoming a being of higher consciousness also means that time will be less and less relevant to us. Well, meditation is an essential part of this ascension process. Meditation opens the door to higher consciousness. Meditation is not esoteric. The New Age movement created the image that meditation is done while sitting in the lotus position, surrounded by incense. But this is a very rigid interpretation. The purpose of meditation is to quiet the mind. This can be done in many ways, none of which has anything to do with our sitting position or our affinity to perfumes. In fact, there is no need for any kind of esoteric or exotic knowledge in order to meditate. Again, the only purpose is to quiet the mind, which can be done in the absence of all other understanding. So, why do we wish to quiet the mind? We do so to maintain a natural balance. You see, in our society, we have been programmed into believing that rationality is the only path to the truth. Western civilization was strongly influenced by Greek thinkers. From codified law to algebra to computer code, all follow the Greek logic structure. We are made to believe that the reason why we are superior to all other animals is because our use of this logic. But logic is just one trait of the divine masculine. On the other hand, an important trait of the divine feminine is intuition. This is the same intuition that is described in courts of law in academia, not described, pardon me, it's discredited in courts of law in academia and in our society in general. Tell anyone what your intuition says, and most people will think it to be wrong. People are biased to preferring the logical opinion of experts. Remember what I said about experts in part 8 and how the concept of expert is often used to exploit our victimhood programming. In the same way, the control system exploits logic to keep us from using our intuition. The last thing the control system wants is for us to be in balance between our divine masculine and our divine feminine. The reason is that having a strong divine feminine means having strong intuition, which means having a strong inner knowing of things, including the knowing of when we are being lied to. The fact that the control system does not want us to be intuitive should serve as the reason for which we work on our intuitive abilities. Whether we are male or female, we are all meant to maintain balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine within us. While I am clearly a male, I hold a strong divine feminine. Let us also not forget that love and creation are also traits of that divine feminine. Therefore, following a path towards higher levels of consciousness means becoming one with unconditional love, becoming one with the divine feminine. Logic is what happens in the neocortex, the large section of the brain where all decisions are made. Meanwhile, intuition happens within our emotional system, our emotional center, within our brain's limbic system. While the neocortex is much larger than the limbic system, we know The knowledge contained within the neocortex is much smaller than the knowledge available through our intuitive system. The, to really understand this comparison between the neocortex and our limbic system, try solving a complex problem with your rational mind. You will go spinning in never-ending circles until your brain literally hurts. Now, try using your intuitive system. To do this, research everything about the problem without focusing on any of the information. Research broad and shallow. Then forget everything. Forget about trying to solve it. All is left is to let the limbic system find the answers while we remain free from any of the work. Yes, we are going to solve a problem without trying to solve it. It is counterintuitive indeed. The answer to the problem will come when we least expect it. When we wake up, when we run, when we shower, these are all moments when answers come to us, all without any effort on our part, all without trying to think, all without engaging the neocortex. So, if we do not actively work on finding the solution to the problem at hand, who exactly did the work? The universe did. Our pineal gland resonates to the problem. It literally searches through the universe until it finds a resonance that matches. The answer does come from the past, the present, or the future, from far or close by. The answers come through our intuitive system, thanks to the divine feminine inside of us. This endless capability by the limbic system is why I say that our emotional part is the bigger brain and not the rational one. Remember that a higher consciousness means having an enhanced understanding of the universe that surrounds us. Well, this higher consciousness demands a bigger brain. It needs the limbic system. Consequently, when I say that the goal of meditation is to quiet the mind, I am talking about quieting the logical mind. I'm talking about opening ourselves to listening to the bigger brain, to our limbic system, to our intuitive mind. Meditation helps us practice the quiet mind that more easily can hear what the universe has to say. Because we are children of the universe, of God, any guidance needed will come our way. It is then up to us to listen for that which serves us best. Consider this. Vinny Colaiuta, I think I butchered the name, a drums virtuoso, was quoted once saying that the enemy of flow is thought. Here, he was directly placing thought or rational intelligence as opposite to flow. Flow is what great musicians experience during the times when they create their best and most amazing musical pieces. In other words, the enemy of creation is thought. The enemy of love is rationality. Clearly, what he means when he uses the word enemy is that it gets in the way. That is then that thought or rationality get in the way of love and creation. Vinny is describing the yin yang between the two parts of our brain, between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. This is the balance we have been talking about. And perhaps the best example of the power of flow took place on January 1975. The location is Cologne, West Germany. That's the town that the perfume that we associate with the French, the cologne, that is the town that gives the name to this perfume. An American musician, Keith Jarrett, was scheduled for a piano concerto at the Opera House in Cologne. On the morning of the concert, Keith chose to ride from Switzerland on a Renault 5 in company of a friend. Anyone remembering these cars would know that they were especially small. So after 5 hours of traveling, Keith arrived exhausted. So much so that he had second thoughts about being able to play that night. You see, Keith is one of the most gifted piano players in history. He is well known for the energy he pours into every single note. Keith is no stiff. Keith is more of a mix between Jimi Hendrix and Ray Charles. Aware of this physical commitment to music, Keith doubted that he had the energy for the concert. These doubts then multiplied when he found that the piano he had requested was not the piano he received. In fact, the piano sitting on stage had completely different characteristics. And to compound the issue, the piano was damaged. The pedals stuck every time he played them. They made a loud clicking noise. Also, most of the keys had some kind of problem, and the piano was completely out of tune. At the time, the organizer suggested bringing another piano from across town. To this, the piano tuner said that it was better to use the broken piano than to try to play a different one that had just been exposed to the elements of winter. Remember, it snows in Germany. The changes in humidity and temperature would make it impossible to maintain tuning. Again, Keith just did not feel it. Did I mention that the concert was meant to be a fully improvised session? Most musicians would never attempt to expose their skills to the brutality of having to create music on the spot, let alone doing so on a completely unknown instrument, one that was different to any piano in the world by the fact that it was broken. To calm Keith, the organizer made reservations at an Italian restaurant so that Keith would be able to get a meal before the concert. And guess what? The restaurant made a mistake with the order, and Keith had to leave without his food. In the end, Keith decided to go ahead and play. Returning the money would be very difficult. Besides, he had scheduled engineers to record the concert. The rest is musical history. The recording of his Cologne concerto became the best-selling piano recording in history. But people did not buy records just because they wanted to hear a broken piano. No. The music that Keith improvised was a harmonic masterpiece. The sound was breathtaking. On the spot, Keith learned the flaws of the broken piano and he embraced them. He never attempted to hide the problems. Instead, he became one with the piano. He became one with the space and the audience. He purposefully included the clicks and creaks into the musical presentation. No one will ever be able to play this concerto. Aside from being an improvised session, no one will have access to the same broken piano. During the incredible moment, there was no thinking. Thinking would have resulted in complete failure. Instead, instead of thinking, Keith experienced flow. Keith channeled the harmonic sounds of the universe through the broken piano at hand. He found a way to unconditionally love the broken piano. Together, the piano and Keith co-created for all of us to enjoy. Oh, how wonderful it would be to experience flow in our daily lives. Unfortunately, participating in the slave system means that we seldom experience it. Being busy, controlled by schedules, addicted to smartphones and computers, always surrounded by thousands of propaganda messages. We become tone deaf. We disconnect. All these distractions keep us away from our natural place. Consequently, many find meditation difficult, despite it being natural in all of us. To control system, programming is effective. Ourselves and our ancestors have been programmed from birth. We have been exposed to a material and detached existence. It is encoded in our DNA and in every societal tradition. It is expected of us by our friends, family, and neighbors. It should therefore be expected that we find meditation difficult. It's understood. This is why it is important to see different forms as a way to search for something that works for each of us. For example, did you know that by reading bedtime stories to your children, you are actually helping them meditate? When they listen to your voice and visualize the story, they are quieting their mind. This is how guided meditation works. In guided meditation, a guide narrates a story, and the audience tries to clear their minds and follow along by visualizing what the guide is describing. Guided meditation works because the story serves as a ready replacement to the noise in our heads. Most of the burden, the work, is placed on the guide, who must offer a narrative that is inviting and engaging. Interestingly, you do not need a guide. You can be your own guide. You can write a focused narrative and then record it. So when you are ready to meditate, you just get comfortable and play the recording and then follow along. Visualize a story. If you fall asleep, do not worry. Meditation brings us to the edge between being conscious and being asleep. It is thus natural to fall asleep from time to time. If you're concerned, you can set a half an hour, 1 hour alarm to ensure that you get back to your busy schedule. In the following passage, you will see an example of a short story that can be used as a bedtime story for children. I wrote this. Today, I will tell you about the little boy with magic in his heart. Get comfortable and happy. Close your eyes and relax. View the story by using your inner eyes. Hear your breath as the air goes in and out. In, out. In, out. Focus on the freshness of the air. Keep your eyes closed because we need to be ready to notice the ball of light that will come out of your heart as you breathe in and out. A small light begins to form right in front of your nose. You can only see with your eyes closed. Breathe in and out to make it brighter. It is like a small star. It is your own star. Only you can make it grow. Now, move it close to your belly button. Move the star towards your belly button. How does the belly button feel from having so much light next to it? The light makes you feel safe and warm. Keep your eyes closed. Now, move your little star towards your toes. Feel the bright light shining over your little toes. How do your toes feel? It is like standing on a cloud. It is like flying through the sky. The light makes your feet feel very light and fast. Next, move your little star towards one of your hands. Feel the warmth as it gets closer to the palm of your hand. Try touching the little star with your hand. Touch it very tenderly. The light should feel like the softest of feathers. It should make you feel very happy. Finally, bring back the little star towards your chest. There, a little to the left, is your heart. It is the portal. It is the door where your little star was formed. Your heart is where all love comes from. And all love is light. You are the boy with a magical heart. You are the one who creates light to illuminate and keep warm everyone around you. So never forget that in order to see the light, we all have to close our eyes to get relaxed and comfortable. Thank you so much for your little star that illuminates my life. This is an example of a guided meditation. It's simple. It works very well with children and with most of us. And the best part, we can write them. We can make them as magical as we wish, as long as we want and as short as we want.